Hey everybody, welcome. We're at Tarot by THC, Lucky Seven Tarot and Psalms. Okay, one of my mini tarot, mini tarot branding phrases, catchphrases. All right, here we go. So now we're going to look at the full moon in Sagittarius, June 2019. Okay, we're going to really be looking at the planetary intentions and how we can set some intentions for ourselves and have a trajectory with the energies in this full moon here. What we also really want to pay attention to is that this is a full moon in Sagittarius. So that's going to really highlight education, teachers and learning kind of thing. It's going to deep spirituality, deep profound truths, travel, relocation, doing things that are a bit outside of the box, thinking outside of the box, a high time for intellect and just creative thought and generating ideas, brainstorming for the future. These are the kind of things that we should be seeing, these kind of energies showing up right around now. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to be checking out my super deck. Okay. Now remember, this is the before tarot, the after tarot, and the new visions tarot, all mixed up together, and all offering what they can offer. Okay. So what I like to do is I normally shuffle this all beforehand, okay? And so what I do is I just kind of grab it in segments like this, big chunks, shuffle it. Okay, now I've got a new big chunk. Now I'm going to take this big chunk, the top of that big chunk, and the top of another big chunk from the first stack, and I'm going to shuffle those together. And it's just a process of doing this because there's so many cards and so bulky. Yes, it's definitely a bit sloppy, which is why I try to do this beforehand. And so then I'll take the next section of that deck, the last two sections, and then I will shuffle these together. And I would do that several times to make sure that it's all shuffled up. Okay, and then you get this beautiful kind of array of colors in the shuffle, Okay. And there are also messages in that too, as far as if you're getting a lot of before tarot or after tarot, you can kind of get a sense of, where a lot of the situations are rooted in, if they're rooted in the future or if they're leading up to something. If they're rooted in the past or if they're leading up to something in the future. Okay. So here we go. Let's check this out. And this is for the collective. I appreciate you guys being here. Love me, sub me, ring my bell, baby. Okay. I really enjoy reading for everyone. It's cool to be doing these kind of public readings for collective groups instead of just the private readings, and the other stuff. So I appreciate you guys. So let's check out us in Sagittarius. Great Lord. Thank you. You show us time and space. Some inspiring, informational messages to reach out to the people to reach their highest self, glorified being. Thank you to the ancestors. Okay. All right, here we go. So, okay, so our first card. Actually, I'm just going to start doing this now. Actually, this is something I've actually changed. I'm actually going to take out a chunk of cards. These will be where I just pull a chunk out randomly from that box. Because when I do that, then I can get cards at the bottom of the deck. Okay. When I was doing the other process, I couldn't get them at the bottom of the deck. So thank you for joining me in this kind of tarot tech type stuff. But at the bottom of the deck, we've got the Emperor reverse. What the Emperor reverse is talking about is, especially at the bottom of the deck, this reading is going to be about what actually we don't have, and territory that we don't have, and power that we don't have. Okay. And things that we want in our lives, and areas that we need to set our ambition and ground in territory that we need to take. Okay. And, you think of the prayer of Jabez, Lord, that you would bless me indeed, that you would increase my territory and that my hands would cause no pain. But, or also no pain would come to me. So this is that you would increase my territory and harm none, essentially. So that's kind of the message that we're getting here at the bottom of the deck with the Emperor, is that how do we start to move forward, take ground, increase our territory? When we look here in the before, and this is the before tarot card, we see that the Emperor is actually standing up. Okay. And that he is holding this lamb. Now, this speaks of the gentleness and the tenderness that is actually quite possible through having that stern hand. Look at him; he's holding that lamb down. Okay, he's holding that lamb with clutching those legs, and the lamb submits, and that is the way to really unlock that serene and peaceful and tender side of the Emperor. Okay, now this is a card that represents Aries also. So check yourselves where your Aries is at, because that's probably going to be, you're going to see a lot of significant things in that area. All right. But now when we see this card reversed, we've got to think that, also remember that the lamb has to do with sacrifice and Eba. Okay. So when we recognize that this Emperor has made it as far as he's made it, he has not made it alone. He has not made it without his ancestors. He has not made it without looking back to his youth and his innocence of the past, and understanding that all of these things set him up on a course and a trajectory to his great success and his domination right now. So the question for us is, where do we need to make sacrifices? Where are we neglecting to make sacrifices, Eba? Okay, what kind of things do we need to release and let go for our greatest good, so that we can actually hit the mark of what we're trying to, accomplish in our lives here? Okay, so now that is at the bottom of the deck. Okay, now the card that is representing us, we've got the Hermit reverse, New Visions Tarot, the Five of Swords reverse. I think this is the After Tarot. We've got the After Tarot with the Temperance. It's really beautiful. I don't think I've ever seen this card before. And that's what's so fascinating dealing with this deck like this. It just continues to be fascinating every time I pull cards, because I treat them all. I bought them all at the same time. I had this idea, and so I bought all the decks, and I've always treated them like one deck. So getting through all of these cards and getting them into like readings and really taking time to understand them takes some time. So this is at our feet. This is what we're standing in the midst of, is this piece, this sort of transformation. Okay. And this kind of quelling of passions. We see that there is definitely that release and that let go. Okay. In the past, we have the after tarot with the Three of Wands. Okay. This is collaboration, moving forward. Okay. Sending out messages. We have in our the front of our head what we see, what we either see for ourselves or we see someone else. We see the Queen of Swords reverse and the New Visions Tarot. Oh, and we see that coffin at the bottom. Okay, so this is again talking about that emotional upset, the widow. That dramatic, emotional. Okay, at the bottom, and in our future position, we've got the Nine of Cups with the After Tarot. So all of these cards here represent us as an individual, our super self. Okay, and this is again with the After Tarot. We're noticing several After Tarot. So a lot of the things that are going to be happening here are going to have a direct relationship on the future. Okay, and reverberations are going to move toward the future. Not as much influence from past events, but it's the things that are going to happen from now toward the future that we've got to really be focused on and use to negotiate our path. In our, to reiterate the situation, we have the Hierophant reverse. Now, this card generally is a reiteration of the bottom of the deck. Okay, and now we see they're quite the same. Okay, where we see this issue of the proper homage being given, and also at the same time about us individualizing and moving on our own course and our own path in our life. Okay, in the environment, we see the 10 of Cups reverse. Okay, so this is now usually is going to correlate a lot with what we see in our eyes. Okay, what we see in our environment. Okay, so that's people who this is the this is either falling short of the emotional success, and now this is also the after tarot with this one. No, this is the before tarot on this one. So it's yeah, it's a lack of a family success, a lack of an emotional success, and it's not saying necessarily that it's lost, but it's saying that it is either not achieved, or it has been somehow interrupted, and a certain level of disharmony has come. But with this next to the upright temperance, that lack of family success actually might be something that's harmonizing your life overall. And our hopes and fears are in the back of our head position, in our subconscious, in our intuitive section, and our reptilian brain, our secret desires. This is the Page of Pentacles reversed. Okay, and when we've got the Page of Pentacles reversed here with the before tarot, we see that this young person is tapping into what's around, but now this is reversed. Okay, so this is someone who can't really pull, who can't really get this, who's having trouble getting something launched, who can't really pull themselves out of a situation that they're in order to create something new for themselves. This is energy, and again, these are fears. These are fears of our own personal stagnation. Okay, these are fears that we're not going to make it. Or have what it takes to be creative enough to come out of some of these such scenarios. And we've got the 10 of Wands in the final future significance position. And that is going to correlate with the 9 of Cups. Okay, so with the 9 of Cups, and this is what we're going to see more in the physical. And this is going to be more of these, the higher level significance, the higher vibration, and the significance of this, and what's that going to lead us to. So that's going to lead us to letting go of certain burdens. We're going to have wins and wishes fulfilled, successes, and letting go of burdens. We're going to realize that all of our, fears were unfounded, and that we actually do, in turn, have, what it takes to get this stuff done. So, when we're here looking at the Hermit reverse, okay, we've got the Hermit reverse, and we've got the Page of Swords reverse. This Hermit reverse is generally someone who is off alone, but they're still able to coordinate and collaborate with others. They have achieved some sort of revelation or some sort of inner wisdom. They have come to some conclusions and calculations, and now they're able to start to transmit some of this information into the world around them. This is a lot of seed planting. This card represents a lot of seed planting. As for instance, there is a star seed planted in this man, and then he's able to start planting those star seeds to watch them grow later in the world. And this lack of competitive energy here, around us. This is someone who is victorious, but it's definitely been at the expense of others, and sometimes that's okay. Sometimes we've got to win. Okay, which means other people have to lose. And so the situation that we're in here is, I think that some of us are having wins. I think that we're having important, powerful wins, but I think that this is only the win in a battle and not in a larger war. I think that we are taking our wins and continuing to strategize and continuing to find how we can end some of these problems once and for all, some of these challenges once and for all, some of these haters and some of these adversaries and adverse conditions. How can we plow through these and deal with these problems once and for all? So now I think that we're making some traction in discovering that. And I think what we need to do with this Sagittarius full moon is really understand how can we recreate this success? How can we recreate some of our successful habits and that have been tried and true and tested, and realizing that if we can analyze our lives, we can realize that there's a certain kind of a way to kind of measure, we kind of like evaluate our lives if we're scientists and we're doing lab experiments and saying, okay, well, I've done this over and over and over again, and this has worked. I've done this over and over again, it hasn't worked. Or this is how I can merge things. Okay, so there's a lot of synthesis going on, especially at our feet when we've got the Temperance card right here. This is definitely using that wisdom for the sake of integration. A lot of us are actually putting some of this wisdom into our natural environment, into our world around us, and putting out the some of this energy toward the toward nature. Okay, some of it is going toward our creative endeavors. Some of it is going toward our family. Okay, so a lot of us are actually being very creative and issuing out this sort of healing self-expression. Okay, a lot of these self-expressions, even though they may be private, as I see the Hermit reversed, even though they may be private, they are adding up to these greater wins. And that even if we're still dealing with, having little tactical wins, there's still a larger strategy for us that we need to pursue. And if you haven't read Sun Tzu's The Art of War, I recommend you do that and get a certain sense of perspective about how we can have success in our lives over those who are challenging us. And okay, so in our past, we've got the Three of Wands here, which is saying that we were successfully making links and links and relationships that we've made already. Some of us have already had really good ideas, and some of that groundwork is already laid. Some of those business plans are already done. Some of those relationships are established. It's now important for us to really launch off into that world, okay, and take flight. Okay, this doesn't necessarily need to be a time of brand new ideas for us with the Sagittarius moon, but it could be. But what it really should be is us capitalizing on ideas that we've already had, good ideas that we've already had that we actually need to put into operation. Okay, things that we realize that where we work and we say, okay, how am I going to make these good ideas sustainable? Okay, I've had these good ideas before, but how can I actually implement them in my life and make them sustainable? Okay, and something that will keep going for the long haul. Okay, now again, we're looking at these two birds taking flight. Okay, and so that's still, when we still get to that element of Sagittarius, is that we have to get to a place where we're letting our creativity shine. Okay, we have to get to a place where we're letting our authority grow. Okay, where we're stretching our arms out and our feet out as far as they can go. Okay, those of you on the Odu. In the E5, okay? As my Baba says. All right. So, but what we're looking at and what we can see, or what we can, what we're kind of conceiving in our mind, is some of us are dealing with, this difficulty letting things go, okay? And difficulty letting some things pass without having this emotional upset and creating our own tower moments. When I see this Queen of Swords reverse, a lot of times I think of a tower moment, a little private, personal, pity party tower moment that we are either watching someone have or we are seeing that may happen to us, because, how can I bear to lose this? How can I bear to lose this fight? How can I bear to lose this relationship? How can I bear to lose this job? this is my entire world, this is my entire stability. It's based off of this concept. The truth, it's not. Okay. So whether we are going through this or we start to see other people going through this, where they're having these problems of like, oh, well, how am I going to go on? We've got to recognize that there are many false distractions that are going to be happening with this moon. I think Neptune is somewhere, is making mischief somewhere and in the skies. And, that is going to create a lot of illusion. That's going to create a lot of emotional distraction. Okay. So I think the challenge for us is to realize that there is the opportunity for emotional distractions to come up. And with this cycle coming up, and that through attacking these, through preparation, being prepared for this emotional upset, having strategies to deal with this emotional upset, that we can actually transform these into our wishes fulfilled. Okay, so now this again may be that we're seeing other people having an emotional upset because we're the ones having our wishes fulfilled. And what we've got here with the After Tarot is we've got, not only has this man gotten his cups filled, which is really for him and all of his interests, such as his family, his children, things like that. But now this man is able to dig in, and that the events are going to serve him. Okay, the situation is going to serve him. And now this fella can pig out and do what he wants. And if someone gets the crumbs, good for them, that they may be blessed also through his success. But this man is going to dig in and take everything that he wants. And what he doesn't want, he's going to leave it for someone else. They're going to be the crumbs for someone else because he's had his fill and it doesn't matter to him. So this is a time where we can come into an abundance that can cascade off of us. An abundance that can not only, enrich us and develop us in our personal, in our financial lives, our work lives, in our relationships, in our family, but also it's something that when we're enriched and we're blessed, it's going to start to pour off of us, and that other people will start to be blessed also. And that's what we're seeing primed here with that that energy with and this is the Sagittarian energy here, okay, of the Temperance. So when we see the Temperance coming here, this angelic energy coming with this wish fulfilled, that's also telling us that we're having people who spiritual energies that are interested in our legacy, okay, and the legacy that we leave behind. So as these things are cascading off of us, these blessings that it's also pouring into our physical world, it's pouring into the people around us. Okay, as we're looking here again, those of us who are coming into our own original energy with our own original ideas, that we are veering off of the guided path, that we are moving away from the orthodoxy, okay, and that these things are okay, that we are going to be individuals and unique, and then those things are okay. It's okay to let your freak flag fly. Okay, and what we're also seeing here with people in the environment is that some people just can't launch, some people just can't do it. Okay, some people don't have the manifestation power. Some people see their lives in disaster and then they complain instead of capitalizing, okay, and transforming their world. So what we're seeing is that someone is failing, and we're seeing in the environment that there's failure around us. So what we've got to do with this Sagittarian full moon is we've got to take advantage of the failure of others. Or even if we failed, if we're failing, we've got to capitalize without getting overly emotional and without being distracted by this Neptunian energy, that we are able to focus and that we are able to, translate ourselves into the future in a healthy way where we reach that abundance and that Nine of Cups. Okay. So now when we come up to, some of us are fearing that we just aren't able to do it. This level of discouragement. Okay. And that it's someone else's fault. And that, oh, they left me and now I can't do that. Or, oh, this situation has happened and now that's, I'm so powerless and weak. Okay. I'm not able to initiate those things. These things are illusions. They're not true. And when we come to the future here, what we see is the 10 of Wands upright. And I'm sorry, not the 10 of Wands upright, the 10 of Wands reverse. And with the 10 of Wands reverse, we are looking at someone who is really trying to put down the burdens. Okay. And now that, again, joining with that Nine of Cups. that wish to put down the burdens, that wish to rest, that wish to be in a groove, okay? And that some of the things that are preventing us from leaping forward in our lives that the Sagittarian full moon wants us to do is that, some of these things are the sacrifices that need to be made. The sacrifices that need to be made for a greater success. Now, again, think of the lamb. I have this lamb here, this Eba, okay? Any of you who know about African traditional religion, you have your sacrificial animal, and then you consume that animal, okay? That's just like going to the grocery store. That's just like any farmer taking a chicken or a lamb or a goat off of their farm, slaughtering it, blessing their food, cooking it, and eating it with their family. It's exactly the same. So, the important thing to understand here is that when we sacrifice that thing, that we are going to be able to transform that thing into something that actually gives us energy. Okay, so those of you who are making your sacrifices to the greater power, the deity, those of you who are tithing spiritually of your money, of your time, of your resources, and giving gifts, those of you who are feeling altruistic, those of you who are putting seeds in the ground, watering plants, those of you who are appreciating life and growth around you, you are going to see this magnify, and you are going to see this effort start to feed you, okay, and return its efforts back to you, okay? Okay, so this is something we can look for at the Scorpio full moon. Email me if you want a private reading. And, I do lots of different readings. So, lots of different tools in the arsenal here. So you guys can check me out. Check me out here. Love me, ring my bell. And you can also email me to get those private readings. And this is something that we can start to work on and break through some of these barriers that you may have in your life that are very particular to you, maybe things that have been just difficult to deal with on your own. That's what I'm here for. Okay, so thank you guys for watching. Okay, talk to you later.